The annual Hajj pilgrimage has begun as well over 1 million Muslims travel to Islam's holiest site in Saudi Arabia. Visiting Mecca is one of the pillars of Islam and a duty for all Muslims who can afford it. But as the faithful gather, they're having to endure blistering heat driven by climate change.
Sunrise on Mount Arafat, or the Mountain of Mercy. Thousands of Muslim pilgrims gathered here to mark the second day of the Hajj pilgrimage. This mountain is near the site where the Prophet Muhammad is believed to have delivered his last sermon. Considered a duty of all Muslims able to afford the journey, the pilgrimage to Mecca marks the fulfillment of a lifelong dream for many here.
It's a childhood dream come true. I wish for this dream to come true for every Muslim and for them to make it here in this great, blessed place. My presence here is an indescribable feeling. I cannot express it in words. We answered the call. God called us to visit the Holy House, and we answered. It was written in our destiny to visit this year.
More than 1.5 million people have joined the Hajj this year. That's despite security concerns from the simmering conflict in Iran. Saudi officials published this video of anti-aircraft batteries set up around Mecca ahead of the festivities. These mist-producing cooling stations are another safety addition. They're designed to help with what might be the most present danger during this year's Hajj: soaring daytime temperatures. The mercury climbed above 44 degrees Celsius in recent days, and authorities have warned the faithful to drink lots of water and find shade whenever possible. Unlike previous years, many pilgrims took part in their noon prayers in air-conditioned spaces, trying to beat the heat as the Hajj reaches its peak.
Well, as we heard in that report, pilgrims are dealing with sweltering heat in Saudi Arabia, and a new study is warning that climate change is creating conditions that will make the pilgrimage increasingly dangerous. We're joined now by one of the authors of that study, Dr. Fahad Saeed. He's senior climate scientist with Climate Analytics Pakistan and joined us from Islamabad. Thanks for being with us, Dr. Saeed. First of all, give us a quick summary of what your study concluded.
Thank you for having me, first of all. And our study, we carried out that study where we looked at the temperatures of the present time. So in 2024, we had an incident during Hajj where 1,300 people lost their life because of the heat wave. And also that was during the time of the El Nino year. And what we looked at is that what would be the temperatures in, let's say, in 2050. So we found that based on the current emissions levels, we projected that the temperature would be around 1.82 degrees centigrade. Let me also tell you that Hajj follows the lunar calendar. So it shifts back 10 days every year. So Hajj is going to be performed for the next 20 years during the winter time. So for example, for the next two years, it will be falling within May. But then gradually it moves towards April and towards the winter months accordingly. But in 2050, that will again come during the time of the scorching heat. And if you consider that if you follow the same path of global warming, then the impacts would be devastating, because at that time, temperatures would be 2 degrees centigrade above pre-industrial level. So what we found out during our study, that the conditions, both with temperature as well as with humidity, those are going to be at the level where you will, most probably, there'll be multiple instances where the pilgrims would have to face these kind of situation, where the temperature would go beyond the physiological limits of the human body.
That sounds extremely worrying. Taking your findings into account, what can authorities in Saudi Arabia do to make the Hajj a less dangerous experience?
As we have already seen in your report, that this year the Saudi authorities have come up with a lot of, out-of-the-box solutions. Your correspondent informed us that this is the first time where most of the pilgrims perform the prayer under the air-conditioned environment. So one thing is that when you do these kind of adaptation measures, so one thing is that you're compromising on the very soul of the pilgrimage, so that is the kind of non-economic loss and damage, because as per the ritual which had been performed over centuries, over thousands of years in a spirit. But if you keep on producing or adapting in a way where you introduce engineering solution and these kind of adaptation measures, you are taking the soul out of the ritual. So that is one thing. So the solution for me is a kind of a no-brainer, that we need to phase out the fossil fuel as soon as possible. Because our study, we projected that based on the current emission trajectory, we will be 2 degrees centigrade warmer than the pre-industrial world. But there is still a chance that we reduce the warming as much as possible. So the Paris Agreement temperature goal is 1.5 degrees. It seems that we are gonna, go beyond that goal, but there's still an opportunity that we keep it as low as possible until 1.7 degrees centigrade, for example. So if we do not take,
I was just going to say, so is part of the aim of your study then, to the conclusions, to convince Muslim nations to do more to combat climate change?
Not only Muslim nations, but also all the countries across the world, because the study we conducted was on Hajj, Muslim pilgrimage, but you can also apply the same kind of approach or same kind of statistics to other religions as well. So there have been gathering of many other religions where a lot of people come together and perform their rituals. So that is applicable to other religions as well.
Dr. Fahad Saeed in Islamabad, thank you very much for joining us today on DW News.